The Paladins of Voltron is a part of the soon-to-be-named network and the Transmissions Podcast Network. Check them out at soon-to-be-named-network.com and transmissionspodcast.com.
Welcome to Paladins of Voltron, an unofficial podcast about Netflix original series Voltron Legendary Defender. I'm your host, Jeremy, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Jason. How you doing, Jason?
I'm good because we're back.
Yes, we're back for season 3, finally.
Yes.
Unless you're binging the podcast, then we never had a break.
That's true. And yeah, for anyone who's doing that, this is nothing. For everyone who's been sending us messages like, hey, you guys doing that again, right? It's like, yeah. We are. We're doing it right now, thankfully.
Yeah. It's just, we both have small children, and that plays havoc with
sure
everything.
Yeah, and I think we both watched the season like the day it came out, if I remember correctly. Yeah. I was recovering from carpal tunnel surgery. I did both hands too, so that didn't help either. Yeah, that definitely took. So
you had a good excuse to just kind of lay there and watch stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
I just was working and had my iPad up next to my computer.
Well, no, you weren't working. Surely you weren't doing that on... No. That wasn't a thing that happened, right? Yeah. No.
No, we're not recording this, right?
No one's going to ever hear this. It's just you and me.
Right. Cool. So, I guess we should get into this. If you'd like to leave feedback on our show, we'd really appreciate it now that we're back. You can leave a comment on the blog post for this episode, or you can contact us, feedback at povpodcast.com, on Twitter at POV_podcast, or on Facebook at POV Podcast. And none of those addresses have advocacy in them.
They do not.
No. All right. We're going to be talking about season 3, episode 1, Changing of the Guard. This is directed by Steve N. Chang On and written by Tim Hedrick. And the episode begins with Keith and the Red Lion searching through the debris after the battle with Zarkon, searching for any sign of Shiro. Not finding anything, he reports back to Kuran that he's coming back into the castle. Allura is getting ready in her most formal dress to prepare for a meeting with leaders of worlds that they've recently freed. On another planet, the Blue and Yellow Lions are in a battle with a number of Galra ships. They let the Blade of Marmora out to fight the ground forces, while the Lions continue to fight in the air. The Blade report that they're pinned down by a large gun and need air support, and Hunk is able to destroy the gun, and the Galra retreat. The Lions land, and Hunk and Lance celebrate with the people. The leader of the people join them and pledge their support, but they want to see Voltron. And Lance and Hunk can't bring themselves to tell the people that they can't actually form the giant robot right now. In the castle, Pidge is reviewing the Galra footage of her brother. It appears that he's in an area across the galaxy. As she continues searching, she brings up a picture of Matt and pledges to find him. Later, in a common area, the entire team is discussing the recent win on planet Puig. They brought some of the leaders back to join their coalition, but that's the problem. Keith is upset that everyone seems to have also forgotten about Shiro. Allura says that it's difficult, but they need to start looking for a pilot for Black Lion. Keith refuses. Shiro never gave up on him, and he won't give up on Shiro. On the Galra ship, Zarkon lies on a table recovering, but seemingly in a coma state. Commander Throck asks to see Zarkon and report on the state of the recent battles. Hagar says that Zarkon has asked Lotor to run the Empire while he recovers, and Hagar walks away as a pink alien appears from around the corner, smiles, then disappears. Around a banquet table in the castle, the coalition leaders are meeting. They're shown the current state of the Galra Empire, which is still considerable, but there's evidence of increased rebel activity throughout the Empire. The leaders demand to see Voltron, and Keith lashes out that there is no Voltron until they find Shiro, and that the people need to learn to fight for themselves. At the Galra arena, Thrak and another general complain about Lotor as they watch a fight with an unknown combatant. The warrior reveals himself to be Lotor and challenges Thrak to fight him for the crown. It's a quick fight, as Lotor has expected every move that Thrak makes. However, Lotor doesn't kill his challenger. No longer will the Empire be led through fear. They'll instead try to build loyalty from their subject. Later, Lotor meets with his 4 warriors, and he orders Thrak to be reassigned to a distant outpost. In front of the Black Lion, the team walks up to where Keith is standing. They all tell him that they know how he feels. Shiro is special to all of them, but their mission is bigger than just one person. Keith realizes that they're right and decides that it's time to find a way to reform Voltron. And that is the first episode. So what did you think about it, Jason?
Well, good start, as usual. Let's see. So, and it starts out with Keith looking for Shiro, which of course makes total sense. After everything that Shiro has done for Keith and all the times he's, saved his butt, basically. He's going to do everything he can to look for him. It was about this time I was also starting to wonder where they were going to go, because they started having discussions about what they're going to do about finding the pilot for the Black Line and everything. And a couple ideas started coming into my head, which I'm sure you had too. Mm-hmm. Maybe spoilers for next episode, but I freaking Hunk's spinning lion attack.
Yeah,
that was amazing. I loved everything about that. And we get the introduction of Lotor. Well, okay, I won't go too crazy, but it's a good episode. It was a good start. No idea what happened to Shiro yet. Still just crazy that he disappeared like that. But yeah, definitely a good start to the season. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I like that it picked up seemingly right after the battle, but obviously some time has passed.
A little bit, yeah.
And, we're seeing the team is still freeing various, just because Zarkon's defeated, the Empire is still strong, and they're still having to free worlds. But I like that as they're doing it, they're building a coalition with those world's leaders.
Yeah.
Which will come into play later in the season. And, I like how they're portraying Keith with his anger that the rest of the team isn't working so hard to find Shiro.
Yeah.
And it plays in with what we saw last season, where, Shiro and Keith were stranded, and, that kind of foreshadowing what's to come.
Yeah.
So we still haven't seen all of what Keith and Shiro had gone through in the past. They're still just kind of hinting at the bond that they had. But, I really enjoyed that. And, we get hints of Pidge's arc looking for her brother. And I don't know. I like that this episode was a more Keith focused episode, but you still got a little bit from everybody, a little bit of progression.
Sure.
So it was fun.
Yeah. So, and I mentioned about the Hunk's line attack, which is still one of my favorites now. But we see, it's a whole different dynamic, basically, because Zarkon was defeated. They, at least from what they can tell, we know he's still alive, barely, or whatever it is. But the Blade and Voltron are working like a really good team together. Just the whole, even when their plan doesn't go exactly the way it should, they're just like, no, we'll take it from here. And then they get pinned down. The Lions help them. And you can tell that you can tell that if Shiro were still there, they probably would have half the Empire defeated at this point. They're like just that sharp.
They work really well together. You can tell there's a high level of trust between the Blade and the Voltron team.
Yes.
But as we see with the people that they free, they don't even seem to, they don't have any kind of trust with the Blade, because I think there's one line where one of the leaders is like, we've been oppressed for centuries by people that look just like you. So it kind of stresses the importance of having Voltron as at least a symbol, which they can't form right now.
Yeah, and they make allusions to that because you have the drawings of Voltron on like the walls. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you're exactly right. I think it's Lance points out that, we did it with the help of the Blade of Marmora, and the leader of the planet or the colony or whatever is just like, yeah, they helped too. That's great. Love it. And yeah, so like you said, Pidge is still trying to find her brother. And she's even going on missions to like get more information and stuff too. So they're trying to free as many people as they can, but people are still trying to do their own things that they're trying to solve and trying to find Shiro and stuff. So there's a lot going on. And of course we're introduced. So we get Lotor finally, which how long ago was it that Netflix trolled everyone with the first reveal of Lotor, and like he turned around and his face was covered with something? That was a while. That was April Fool's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. And of course the scene was the scene without his face covered, and the whole time and here's the thing, like, this show doesn't do anything that really surprises me, but it still is written in such a great way that I don't care. Like, I knew that was I knew that was Lotor fighting in the pit. I had no doubt about that. But the reveal and the way, it's not just the reveal of Lotor. You also find out the 4. Do they specify exactly what they call his?
Not in this episode. I think later they're called his lieutenants.
Lieutenants, yeah. So, and I'll be 100% honest with you, I still don't know all their names yet.
Yeah, I only know what I can't remember them, but
right.
I watch with closed captioning on. That's the only reason I know their names.
Exactly.
Any time.
Right. And we get just the brief glimpses of like their personalities and stuff, and like he's got these. Like, you can tell they're dangerous people, but like the one with the colorful skin or hair or whatever that's behind her, like she looks like she's having the time of her life.
Yeah.
So there's a lot introduced, but it's introduced well. Nothing's overwhelming.
And I love how competent that they're building up Lotor.
Oh yeah.
He just, in the original series, he was just like every other bad guy where, they all basically couldn't win.
Yeah, you're right.
And he's shown here as a competent fighter hand to hand. He's also shown as like a competent leader, giving that speech after he defeats Throck. But then you realize that it's just a ruse with the whole mercy stuff. That's like a public thing. And then when he goes back to his lieutenants, he's like, send Throck to the far outpost. And he mentions I can't remember the line, but it's something about just how, they're easily fooled or something.
Yeah. And I don't know. They haven't really specified why Lotor was more or less like Zarkon more or less had Lotor not banished, but just sent away more or less. And you kind of get little hints of, well, I think Zarkon realizes that Lotor is dangerous. He could probably take over the whole operation if he wants to, which guess what? He's probably going to want to.
Right.
Spoilers for later on. And yeah, it's Hagar who actually sends for him. So, and there's an interesting dynamic there, which we will get into later in the year or the season. There's a lot coming up. It's just, it sets up a lot for this season.
Yeah.
And this is it's okay. I guarantee you right now, they just cut the season in half and wanted to get episodes out. I've seen some people say that they thought they must have rushed it. I don't think that's it. I think they had half a season ready and they said, hey, put it out. People want to see this show.
I think that's their whole plan is they don't want you to have to wait until the entire season is done.
Right.
So they're splitting it in half, calling this a season, which, I mean, I wish they wouldn't just say this is season 3, that's season 4.
Yeah.
But that's what they're doing. But essentially season 3 and 4 is a full season.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're getting more in October, I think.
It's very soon. Yes. So it's probably a good thing we started this back up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, other than that, there's a lot that we're going to see in the next couple episodes, but we're just setting the pieces for this season while also going over some of the stuff from last season, like Zarkon's condition. There is a little bit of uncertainty in the Empire, and Lotor makes sure that goes away really fast. So it just introduces a lot, but it's still a fun episode, and people still get their funny moments in.
Yeah.
Given how heavy the show has become with some of the stuff that's going on. And like I said, they don't do a lot. They don't really try to surprise you. They just write a really good show and make sure you enjoy what you see.
Yeah, and I think consistently Hunk is becoming my favorite part of the show. Because, no matter how serious it is,
yep,
he's always there to kind of lighten the mood. And, he doesn't get any, like last season, I think he got a spotlight episode. He doesn't get anything like that here, but he's just consistent, and I like that.
Yeah, he is pretty much the comic relief for this episode. When they first help not conquer the planet, but help the planet, he goes to reach for Puig. Yes, I got to remember that for my review next episode. But he goes to eat something, and he's like, "Oh nope, that one's alive. Not eating that."
Yeah.
And then he's the chef for when the different cultures come together to join in the fight. And of course,
just them pizza rolls.
Yes. And then they say, "Well, we'd like to see Voltron," and Allora's kind of trying to work through that, and Keith just kind of loses it. And I'll have some interesting stuff to say about that probably after you talk about the next episode, or after you talk about the third episode, I'll have some stuff to say about that. Because Keith kind of goes through his own little mini arc here to start the season.
Well, yeah, and that, I mean, with the title of this episode, Changing the Guard, you kind of see that's...
Yeah.
These first few episodes are pretty much Keith's arc.
Yeah, exactly. So there's some stuff there that we'll talk about. I almost regret giving you episodes 1 and 3 because I really like that. Spoilers ahead, but I really like episode 3.
Yeah, that's why I asked you. And
I know. But here's the thing: I wanted it to be fair. I didn't look at what episodes are which. I was like, I did one in the odd ones last time. You do them this time.
Yeah,
I'll never do that again. You're never getting the good episodes again. I got Space Mall last year, so I guess it's only fair.
Yeah, it works out.
Yeah, so so it's there's plenty going on, but the pieces are still being put in place. So we've got a little ways to go here on stuff. So anything else you want to say about the episode?
No, yeah, I think like we said, it's a good start, and there's a lot more fun stuff to come.
Oh yeah, and like I said, there's arcs starting. These 4 episodes work really well together as like its own little mini bit, and that's what we're covering in this recording session at least. So
yeah,
which I'm not afraid to say because I'm sure if you watch the video, maybe we'll have different clothes on starting with episode 5. Who knows? Unless we coordinate very well. So all right, I think that's all I got to say then.
All right, cool. Well, as always, like I said, if you can send us feedback, Twitter, Facebook, we'll have all that in the show notes. And also, we are a part of both the Transmissions Podcast Network and the soon to be named network. So you can look up both of those for other shows. Transmissions has mainly Transformers related shows and us and whatever Yoshi does on the Yoshi Cast. And then the soon to be named network has variety of pretty much everything. Your show, Podvocacy, Long Box Heroes, about comic books, tons of stuff.
Oh yeah. If it's you can find everything on the soon to be named network. Maybe not in the most reliable of schedules, but you can find shows there.
Yeah. So check out those for more shows, and we'll see you guys next time.
Yep, see you everyone.
Bye.
Later.